Welcome! Yes, I'm back with yet another Old World Almanack update, giving you my views on the latest Old World rules that have been released today by the Games Workshop team. This sadly looks like it might be the last one of these for a while, as there was no teaser at the end of this week's issue to suggest what next week's might be. Perhaps taking a break for Christmas. We can only hope that they'll be back in the new year with more news from the Old World. But first, it is a day that made me very happy because as a Bretonnian player, as anyone who's watched my videos elsewhere on this channel will know, we got to learn lots of cool stuff about the Bretonnians, and in particular, Grail Knights. Yes, I've got my Grail Knights here. They're very, very happy to have been featured in this week's Old World Almanack. However, all of that excitement being said, there is just one elephant in the room that I feel needs addressing. To do that, though, I need to turn briefly to the judges to see what they say. Judges? And the judges say 75. 75! 75! 75 special rules! That's what we're being told this edition contains. 75! Oh my god. Okay, so universal special rules, or special rules as they're apparently being known in this edition. Everything is now a special rule. I think at the point when there are 75, let's just look at that again. 75 special rules. They perhaps stop being special rules and just become the rules, and everything else becomes the special rules. Like moving, shooting and stuff, maybe that's the special rules, and everything else, the 75 things that need to be singled out, become the rules. Okay, so before I dive into this further, let's look at the good stuff from this. So, firstly, we saw what a unit of Grail Knights is going to look like. Weapon skill 6, guys! That's pretty cool. You're going to get your barding, you're going to get your heavy armor shield, minimum unit size is 3, and yeah, and you all come equipped with lances and barded steeds. That's all pretty cool. What we got a glimpse of here was the stat line for Grail Knights, alongside what we now know to be the case for mounts, which is that they get like an additional attack and a certain strength and weapon skill, but otherwise don't get a full stat line like they used to in some of the earlier editions. Beyond that, we also got a little notation as to what the base size will be. 30 millimeters by 60 millimeters. I mean, I'm not sure I'll be rebasing. I might just use some kind of converting tray. I mean, to be honest, the extra space around the bases that's added by the movement tray that I've got here might be sufficient to bulk them up to the appropriate size anyway. But beyond that, interesting factoid that we saw from this is that their save characteristic, we're told, will be a 3-up. Now, this is a unit that's heavy armor, shield, mounted on a barded steed. Previously, that was a 2-up save. You got 5-up for the heavy armor, +1 for the shield, putting you on a 4-up, +1 for being mounted, putting you on a 3-up, and barding put you on a 2-up. From this, I can only draw 2 conclusions. Either barding just makes you look pretty now, or else being mounted no longer gives you a bonus to your save because you've got lots of other special rules that you get for being mounted, and instead it's the barding that gives the extra point of armor save, meaning that, well, pretty much every kind of knight is going to be on a 3-up save. I think the only stuff that we'll see with a 2-up save is things like, I would guess, Knights of the Inner Circle for Reiksguard and so forth, whose heavy plate gave them a 4-up save, which would therefore be a 3-up for shield, 2-up for barding. Likewise, Chaos Knights, again, that 4-up save for the base armor is really the only thing I think that's going to give us that 2-up save, which is kind of cool. It means that there's less kind of Terminator armor zooming around the board. Although, given the amount of randomizing AP that we're going to see in this game, it seems to be based upon weapons, then I guess, again, it's going to be really kind of up in the air as to what kind of save people get anyway. But that's kind of something that's kind of interesting. Let's look then at special rules. So, there is a host of special rules that this unit of Grail Knights get. Looking through the list, they come with the following. Blessings of the Lady, Close Order, Countercharge, Finest War Horses, First Charge, Lance Formation, Living Saints, Swift Stride, and the Grail Vow. Just by my initial count then, that's 9 special rules for this unit. Now, admittedly, I understand what Games Workshop is saying, that several of these special rules are rules that would otherwise have just appeared as general rules in the rule book, but they have now decided to give it some kind of special status and print it for every unit on each of their unit data entries, which, okay, I'm with you so far. But then what we have to do is we have to look at what each of those special rules actually does, and helpfully the article gives us a rundown of what these do. First and foremost, so it's 9 special rules at the moment, but let me just add that to my tally. So 9 at the moment, but then we get +1 special rule because they've got lances, and lances apparently give them armor bane, which is a special rule whereby if you roll a 6 to wound unmodified, you get an extra point of AP, which only applies in the first turn that you charge, because lances only apply in the first turn that you charge. So, I mean, that's at least another +1, maybe another +2 if you take into effect that the lances only applying in the first turn that you charge is itself a special rule. So let's call that an extra +1. So we're on 11 special rules at the moment. Then when we dive into it, we see that, for example, the Grail virtue that they come with actually grants 2 special rules. It gives them the magical attack special rule, so that's an extra +1. And it also makes them immune to the effects of fear, so that's an extra +1. So actually what we've got here is this unit has 9 +1 +1 +1 +1. I feel like I'm in the end scene of Clue here. 9 +1 is 10, +1 is 11, +1 is 12, +1 is 13. So actually this unit of Grail Knights, when you put it on the tabletop, just as it is clocking in with 13 special rules. And then, helpfully, Games Workshop says to us, but don't worry, you can also give the champion at the front of the unit a virtue, like the errantry virtue, the virtue of the impetuous knight, which gives them the impetuous special rule. So let's add an extra +1 there. That puts them on 14. The impetuous special rule, and also it gives them an extra bonus to charging. So that's an extra +1. So that's 9 +1 +1 +1. So that is now 15 special rules. But wait, you can also give them a magic weapon. So that's an extra +1. And a magic banner. So that's an extra +1. You can very easily end up with a situation where just through the application of a couple of simple bonuses, this unit is now clocking in with 17 special rules. The line boggles. Honestly, it does. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt, though. Let's compare it to earlier editions. So move the Grail Knights just over there for a minute, lads. I've got here, therefore, 5th edition Bretonnian Army book. So how many special rules, as the article would consider them to be, did Grail Knights have in 5th edition? Well, okay, let's take a look. So first and foremost, the unit of Grail Knights had the Grail Vow. Okay, so that's 1 special rule so far, but as we saw in Old World edition, that old Grail Vow actually contains 2 special rules within it. Let's take a quick look at the Grail Vow, see whether or not it gives multiple special rules, and the answer is units with the Grail Vow are immune to fear and panic and psychology. So actually no, the Grail Vow is just 1 special rule. Okay, what other special rules do Bretonnian Knights have in 5th edition that might be considered, okay, that were general rules, really, or army rules? Okay, well, so first and foremost, they got the lance formation. That's a special rule that they get in the Old World edition, so here we are. Let's add that onto our list. So that's 2. That's 2 special rules. They also get the Blessings of the Lady. That's, again, it's a special rule from the Old World, which is an army-wide rule in this, so that's a +1. And they also get the fact that they get an extra dice worth of movement on pursuit or fleeing and so forth, which is kind of counted as a special rule in this. So it's a game-wide rule in 5th edition, but let's count that as an extra +1. Okay, so there must be more than that. No, in actual fact, in 5th edition, Bretonnian Grail Knights had 4 special rules as we would consider them. So, I mean, even if we take into account that, yes, okay, the champion, if we put a champion, a hero in there, he can have the he can have a virtue of some kind. So that's an extra 1, that's 5. And he can have a single magic item, so that's an extra 1, that's 6. And he can have a banner on the unit, so that's an extra 1, that's 7. You're still looking at a situation where the unit can have, at most, 7 special rules compared to the 9 +1 +1. 17! That's 10 more special rules for the Old World edition compared to using this same unit of Grail Knights in 5th edition. But okay, what about 6th edition? 6th edition was kind of king of special rules, that's why special rules got introduced as a whole separate class. Let's take a look. Okay, so Grail Knights, they actually did have special rules written on their data entry sheet. In this, they had the Grail Vow, Living Saints, and Purebred Warhorse. Okay, so the Grail Vow, again, does this equal multiple special rules in this edition? Well, let's take a look. In this edition, the Grail Vow meant that they were immune to psychology. Okay, so that's one. It also meant that they counted their attacks as magical attacks. So that's two. Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. The Grail Vow still only counts as two. They also still, though, they got Living Saints. Let's look at the entry for that. Living Saints meant that every model in the unit counted as a champion. So that's three. Okay, cool. We're doing so well so far. Purebred Warhorse. That was a special rule that applied specifically to all Bretonnian steeds. In this edition, it meant that they were not affected by the movement penalty for wearing heavy armour and barding. So that's four. Four special rules. We're doing well. Army-wide special rules as well. So they had the Virtue of the Lady, the Blessings of the Lady, that's 5, and the Lance Formation, that's 6. Also, they still had that extra additional dice worth of movement for the shooting, the fleeing and pursuit rolls. That's 7. 7 special rules. 9 was the starting point in this before we started adding on all the extras. Before, in fact, we added on the magic item and the virtue for the champion. I suppose, yeah, 7 versus a base of 13. That's still 6 less than the unit gets in the Old World edition. Maybe it'll work great. I mean, maybe it will be fantastic. I won't know until I play it, and I think that's true for all of us. I am concerned, though, that the edition as it stands at the moment is going to rely on me having somebody stood at my shoulder with a book there in front of me kind of going, this does this, and this does that. Don't forget, this does this, and this does the other. We will wait and see. This is the hardest point for me, I think, on the Old World edition. I'm still really excited. I still can't wait to get my hands on a copy of the book. But I can't get past when I read that point when it says 75 special rules. Maybe that's when you take into account all the unique army rules as they would otherwise have been. So things like Blessings of the Lady, the Lance Formation, the fact that they're counting just being ranked up as a unit as a special rule. Again, I think that was perhaps described as a rule, but okay. It is worrying that there is that much banked on top of each unit, or baked in, as it were. Only time will tell. But, okay, so there we go. That's my brief rundown on what we found out from the Old World Almanack today. I won't be back next Monday, it doesn't look like at the moment, with another one of these, but do come back on Friday for more Old Hammer content, and in the meantime, please dive into the archives and see if there's anything there that tickles your fancy. If I don't speak to you all again before then, have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you very much for watching, and as ever, I will catch you next time. Bye for now.